This is once again just a test, and I hope you guys are doing well out there. If you're paying attention, it's a test, but we could have one story. We'll limit it to one story. Hi, everybody. This is a test, and I promise I will not be on long. And we'll get to just one story that I had in mind. It's a story, but it's actually surrounding a bill that I've kind of avoided it because I don't. I usually just read or I just go into something like an abstract when I go into some of the bills. But I also have something that I'm actually testing on here. So if you guys are around, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I just want to say hello to the definition of anarchy. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm actually testing a feature, believe it or not. And before that, I'll just give a word of thanks to our sponsors before I start running the test. And then if we have time, just one story. Be right back. And hello once again. Thank you guys so much. If you are able to tune in on this segment of Black Spring, it is just a test. And if I have time, I will get into just one liner. And I'm sure, a line that you guys have heard about. It's around the HR 127. But in the meantime, I'm going to run a couple more ads, info ads at that. I'll be right back. All right. Thank you so much if you are tuning in to this segment. But as I said, this is an actual test. Okay. This is actually just a test, guys. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into this liner on the HR 127, but if I do, I will give you a heads up. Hello, Anarchy. I don't know. Can you guys give me a one if you can see the play button on the screen? I mean, if you can see the play button or any of the volume adjustments on there. Um, yes, Anarchy. Yes. It was me, not the pet in the background. Good, 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 good. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more here. I'll be right back, guys. Let's see here. Thanks so much for tuning in on another test here. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, there's something for everyone. So please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right. Hello, TDOA. You guys so much for stopping by here. I'm just running a few things here, an extra feature I have. So I'll be right back. Thank you guys so much for coming in. So you know what I'm going to do? This is just a test that I'm actually running right now, but I did say that I might get into a little bit of this article on the HR 127, and I'm sure you guys have heard about it by now. But sometimes it's nice to have the what I call it kind of the bun and lettuce, or a little bit something more substantial than bun and lettuce. Maybe even, I don't know. Maybe you go for bacon or something on your sandwich. But this is I have something from the TNA, our friends at the TNA. So I'll share that their take on the HR 127. As I said before, I usually just do the somewhat of an abstract, and then give you guys opportunity to dig all you want. But we'll see what happens there. It's Ronnie Man. How are you? Thanks so much for coming in. So, also, if you guys could please hit that like button. I think the AR is starving for a little bit of attention. So, I'm going to play this one more time, and then I'm going to take you over to that piece from the TNA. And the definition says, and they're lowering the income cap for the stimulus checks, but not their salaries. Yikes. Hello, Joseph Francis Burton. How are you? Says, nope, too busy lately for much news. Well, I'm going to go into a little bit of the article on an actual article on the HR 127 for anybody that's just coming in. That's pretty much all I'm going to do on this one because I was actually just testing an extra screen that I have that I have around here. So not too much. I'm also going to put, this might be a testament to, I could play something that's a testament to the stakeholder capitalism versus the shareholder. I could do that. And then Anarchy says, I've been wanting to hear some of your musical talents. Oh, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Anarchy. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for the support there. And so, yeah, okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys over to the actual, we'll have a perspective from the TNA. It looks like I'm kind of in stuck mode there. I'm lagging really badly here these days. So I'll be right back and we'll get to it.
This segment of our show is brought to you by our good friends at the John Birch Society. Less government, more responsibility, and with God's help, a better world. The JBS is a constitutional and educational organization that's been around for over 60 years, dedicated to upholding and defending the Constitution and working to preserve our freedoms and liberties in this country. The JBS does not endorse any political party or candidates. Rather, it focuses on the education, training, and development of the American voters.
We're going to share an actual a screen right now, and I'll take you to the article from the New American. They're entitling it "The New Bill in Congress essentially nullifies the Second Amendment." So this is going to be their take on this particular bill. So I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to get into it, but I might even be able to put that link in the stream for you. So I'm going to go full screen on this one. Thanks so much, Ronnie, man. See what I mean? Yes, we are. He says, are we talking the HR 127 that's trying to destroy? Yes. Just, yeah. And that's the only piece that I've got on the plan for right now. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see it. I mean, I can put it into a smaller screen, but I'll drop this one link for you later. But this one is entitled, this comes from our friends at the TNA. It's a new bill in Congress essentially nullifies the Second Amendment. And this one is by Selwyn Duke. So, according to this, the leftists have made clear that they believe only government should have guns, and a new bill proposed in Congress would be a huge step toward making this a reality. submitted January 4th by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, of course, Democrat of Texas. The Sabika Chic Firearm Licensing and Registration Act, H.R. 127, would, one observer warns, quote, end your Second Amendment rights permanently, end quote. The bill's provisions are staggering. In fact, according to an analyst who've tried to make sense of its technical language, quote, first, H.R. 127 establishes a federal firearms registration system that will be accessible by federal, state, and local governments, including the military, even the general public, end quote, relates writer Howie Cates. Quote, the system will track the make, model, and serial number of all firearms, their owners, the dates they were acquired, and where they are being stored, end quote. Note that when the Journal News in Westchester County, New York, printed the names and addresses of registered handgun owners in its coverage area in 2013, it caused an uproar. And one point made at the time also applies to a university accessible registration system. If someone wanted to rob you, he could know precisely how you were armed, where you were armed, or if you were unarmed, and hence easy prey. In fact, in that incident's wake, the Rockland County Times, quote, asked several former convicts what they thought about the publication of registration information, and, quote, related America's First Freedom in 2016, quote, the convicts all agree that it would be an outstanding list for burglars to use, end quote. Moreover, making such records public can render you vulnerable to cancel culture action in today's political climate. Worse still, the H.R. 127 is retroactive, states author and blogger Michael Snyder. Quote, within 3 months, you would have to report to the government where you bought all of your guns, when they were purchased, and where they are currently being stored, end quote, he writes. Firearm owners, quote, would also have to report the identity of any person to whom and any period of time during which the firearm will be loaned to that individual, end quote, adds Citizen Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms Chairman Alan Gottlieb. Of course, this makes it easy for the government to confiscate your weapons in the future. In fact, as in Australia, the historical pattern is for registration to precede confiscation. Yet selective, quote, confiscation, end quote, could occur long before the collective variety, because H.R. 127 also requires licensing inclusive of a psychological evaluation. Quote, the licensing requirement mandates that the license applicant undergoes a criminal background check and then submits to a psychological evaluation to determine whether the person is psychologically unsuited to possess a firearm, end quote, as Gottlieb puts it. Quote, successful licensees must show they have an insurance policy which will cost $800, end quote. By the way, if a poll tax is illegal because it places an undue burden on the poor, why should what's in essence a gun, quote, tax, end quote, be allowed, especially since at issue is a constitutionally guaranteed right? While Snyder points out that many guys wouldn't want a government-approved psychologist assessing their mental fitness, more must be said. The reality is that the social sciences in general are a bastion of liberalism. As Quartz wrote in a 2015 article titled, quote, social psychologists are almost all liberal, and it's really hurting the field, end quote. In 2011, Professor John Haidt of New York University Stern School of Business asked a gathering of some 1,000 psychologists to raise their hands if they identified as politically conservative. Exactly 3 people did, end quote. This is unsurprising that the social sciences have become what they are, the pseudo-scientific arm of leftism. That is to say, liberals in politics make a claim and social scientists provide a specious, quote, scientific basis for it. Moreover, for years heard that conservatives are mentally ill. This columnist states that, quote, Trumpism qualifies as psychosis, and, quote, for example, and Psychology Today has claimed that Trump supporters generally have, quote, 5 key, end quote, negative traits, and that they exhibit distortion of reality. So what do you think the chances are the deviation from approved orthodoxy would be used social credit score style to deny gun licensing. Yet there's still more. According to Cates, quote, for the psychological evaluation, a licensed psychologist will interview individual spouses, at least two other family members or associates to further determine the state of the mental emotion and the relational stability of the individual in relation to firearms. Licenses will be denied to individuals hospital for issues such as depressive episodes. No duration for licensed disability is specified, and it does not matter whether the individual sought help voluntarily, end quote. And finally, HR 127 also criminalizes the possession of, quote, large capacity magazines, those carrying greater than 10 rounds and ammunition that is .50 caliber or greater, end quote. Cates also writes, quote, there's no grandfathering clause in Jackson Lee's bill, end quote. He continues, quote, that means if you have an old rusting .22 rifle sitting in one of your closets, you'll have to comply with all the provisions of the bill or face a heavy fine and possible imprisonment, end quote. The good news is that HR 127 does not as yet have any co-sponsors. The bad news is that it absolutely aligns with the Democrats' aims, so we should expect something of its nature to pass the House in the foreseeable future. As Snyder points out, all of this is happening at precisely the time crime rates are skyrocketing because of many Democrats' refusal to enforce just laws and their releasing of criminals onto the streets. So it's not enough for the leftists to throw a cat to the wolves. They want to declaw him as well. Of course, all this means far more if we confuse the feds with feudal lords and government with God. These proposals don't mean as much if we on the state level just said to the feds, quote, if you can nullify constitutional amendments, we can nullify you, end quote. So that, my friends, that's coming out of the TNA. So I really appreciate you guys for coming in. You know, the test always leads to something else. So it's a little bit of a teaser, but yeah, it's also nice that they did their homework over the TNA and they gave us those nice annotations, because it kind of speaks to some of the things that I bring up on a regular basis. It's also a quote from Dr. Thomas Sowell. He talks about how the colleges, the social science departments, you probably have no conservatives. How many conservatives, I think I'm paraphrasing, how many conservatives actually are on sociology departments? You won't find them. They're not in that number. And the definition, he says he literally hates these government overlords. So yeah, I hear you. The definition, it's a lot, and I'm not sure what can be. I don't know. I think we're running out of protections. I don't know. And so that's the last stronghold, is what people have warned about. I mean, it's like, what are we dealing with? We've got our own versions of a Mao here. And dare I say, a black-faced Mao. Oh, I'm probably gonna get yanked down for that. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who these people are representing, but they're not representing me. But I'm going to take the liberty and read some comments. Ronnie Mann says that link is also a quote tracker, end quote, to keep you abreast of the bill's current status on the House floor. Thank you for that, Ronnie Mann. I really appreciate that. And Joseph Francis Burton says, too many 50 cal already out there. Good luck passing this thing. And Anarchy Television says, whoever wrote this bill and whoever wants this to pass needs to be taken behind the woodshed. Yikes. And let's see, I got that one. Yeah, let me grab this comment from TDOA. He says Sheila Jackson Lee is an idiot when it comes to firearms knowledge. Yeah, I mean we've seen her, acting and describing the AR. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's out there. Her description of an AR. Oh, gosh. Yikes. But yeah, but there again, they're good. I keep wrapping in myself into these comments on these intellectuals slash elites. They tend to spout off about things that they don't know anything about. No matter what their degree says, they're an expert on everything. And they think they should be able to tell everybody what, how things should be. I mean, I don't know. It's just all a game, it seems. So thank you for that, TDOA. I really appreciate it. Let's see, who else do we have here? Ronnie Man was so nice to post a link in. I'll give you guys that article. Just I mean, I think that was it was nice that they gave some sociological context. They gave quite a bit. They cited some previous printed names and addresses of registered owners, and they also gave you the liberal take on, gave you their assessment. So it's like you're pretty much duped if you have to be evaluated by the social sciences arm from any of these universities. I think you're just pretty much doomed. I mean, can you imagine? And Steve Willis says we know where this bill came from, but here's the thing. Okay, here's, and I always go back to this. I know I sound like a broken record or Groundhog's Day, but this is also a part of the agenda, the UN agenda's peace. This is a part of the peace agenda. Now, if you haven't seen it, if I can find it for you, there is a picture outside. I'm not sure if that, I'm pretty sure that statue is still intact. There's a gun statue outside. Worst case, I'll just share it with you. I'll share it. At least it's actually a knotted gun. So this is definitely part of their agenda, and I will show it to you. And so if you haven't seen this, actually it looks like there's some video to go with it too. So give me 1 second here and I'll share it. Hello, you stupid fool. Thanks so much very much. And I'm so lagging right now, and I'm a hot mess. Okay. So yeah, but this is certainly on the agenda. But I think most people don't realize that there was an agenda 50 years ago. It was the United Nations Arms Treaty. And that was actually, JFK was actually a part of that. So actually, hold on. Let me get the right screen here. So here we go. So it's actually, this is the statue. So as you can see, this is, quote, knotted gun, a sculptor remembered at the UN. And just for your edification here, this is it's reported that it's outside of the General Assembly Hall, And I think there's some audio here, so I may try to play this one. Try to play it for you.
I've been here for just a few minutes, but already plenty of...
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this one up here. I'll blow this up here. All right. So here you go.
Visitors to the UN have had their photos taken in front of the knotted gun, an indication of its enduring popularity as a symbol of peace. It was gifted to the UN in 1988 by Luxembourg and was designed by the Swedish sculptor Carl Fredrik Reuterswärd. I'm joined by Olof Skog, the Swedish ambassador to the United Nations. Can you describe this piece to our listeners and what you find powerful about it?
One of the reasons we're here today is because Carl Fredrik Reuterswärd just passed away. He is a very famous Swedish artist. The piece we're standing next to is really what has made his fame. And I think what makes it so powerful is that it's, in its simplicity, it's a very strong political statement about nonviolence. A pistol, the hard metal of a revolver, but where the barrel is tied into a knot. It's genius, it's an ingenious way of showing with the easiest symbol the meaninglessness of violence.
Why is it important to have this sculpture here at the UN?
Well, I mean, the UN was set up to make sure that the destruction of wars would be something of the past. So it's one of the strongest mandates of the United Nations is to avoid further conflicts and violence. That's part of the UN Charter, and this symbol in its simplicity is just a very strong image of what the UN should be about.
How important for Sweden is it to have this work of art here?
The fact that it's a Swedish artist, I think, makes us very proud because it's also a symbol of what Sweden has been standing up for very long. And it's the way we look at the UN is that it needs to do even more when it comes to avoiding conflict and preventing conflict from erupting. It's a strong symbol of what Sweden stands for internationally, globally, and in the United Nations.
And I understand there are many versions of this sculpture around the world.
That's true. In my country alone, I think there are at least 10 cities where the sculpture is centrally located. But I understand that also in, I think, Cape Town, Asia, there are replicas of the statue.
How would you sum up Carl Fredrik Reuterswärd's legacy in the whole non-violence project?
It's not just that he did this very strong symbol, but he also came up with the idea, together with another Swedish entrepreneur, I think in the beginning of the 90s, that they should use this symbol that was already well known to start a movement for nonviolence. And that in itself created a huge manifestation in Stockholm. I think 100,000 people turned out in support of the nonviolence project. I think since then it's moved its headquarters to Switzerland, but it remains a very strong movement for prevention, for peaceful resolution of conflicts, and for humanitarian issues.
Ambassador Skog, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, thanks for reminding me. But I'm saying that this is the global agenda. It's not just here, but I mean, this has been in the making for a long time. I think, as we've said before, they kind of give you a preview of. They tell you what they're thinking all the time, and they've got the power to make that happen. I mean, look what's happening here. I mean, will there be hurdles? I think in these chambers, yeah, but there's also court reform on the docket as well. So yeah, I think even the lower courts are on the dockets to be been discussed in terms of the expansion. Yeah, so I didn't go into that too much, but there's new requirements there. So there will be, talk about balance of power. It won't be the co-equal branches anymore. And you know, little opposition, I guess. I mean, you won't stand a chance. So that's why and I mean, I haven't even talked about HR1. HR1 is the other one. It's just, ay. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's R. Jones. How are you, R. Jones? Thanks so much for coming in. And Ronnie Mann gave me a double question mark. And You Stupid Foo says it's funny that people are falling for the banana in the tailpipe when it comes to Big Bad China or Russia. They're all in this together. Like we were from the WCW. Yeah. So yeah, so that's where it is. So that's pretty much all I was going to share, all I was going to get into. But yeah, I think they've kind of like put the quash on many things. Of course, the First Amendment. So that's, and that's the other one is the HR 5717. That's the extreme gun laws bill. And these bills have been kind of lying in wait for 4 years, or even at least 2 years. In 2018, I think is when when you could see what people might want to refer to as extreme or more radical things coming up. But that's what it's been. It didn't just pop up overnight. And many of these things have already passed in the House. So, we'll see. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And yeah, if you guys could hit the like button. I mean, it's looking a little thin. I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's looking a little bit thin on the likes. All right, even if you unlike it, just feed the AI something is all I'm asking. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So I'm going to run one more ad, and I'll be right back. A couple more ads, and then I'll be right back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the test and a little bit more on your HR 127. Hello, Jermaine. She says, peace and love, everyone. And thanks so much. Ronnie Mann has given us a little teeth action here by posting the HR 717. Thank you so much, Ronnie Mann. And Anarchy Television says, we need the military on our side, not protecting these criminals calling themselves government officials. Yeah. I hear ya. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I have. And I was dealing with another on here, so I was just trying to see how that goes. But also, I want to thank once again Old Head Deuce and Zero to Infinite, and there was one other, and Ronnie Man for being for joining the Twitch part of the network. Thank you guys so much for doing that. Because honestly, I think more like I think they're going to start. I'm going to be honest. This is my own assertion. Um, I would imagine it look from what I can see, it looks like they're kind of starting out with the bigger platforms. They're starting to do that. So I mean, I'm not saying that that's exactly what they're doing, but I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna hold on to the wreckage. Um, be one of the last pieces floating around. And I'll just cling to that, and then who knows, might be curtains. So Ronnie Man says a front on the two-way under the guise of gun violence prevention. Thank you, Ronnie Man. So yes, that's pretty much what I have for now. I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. So just let me say hello and thank you to everybody that came in on this test, the definition of anarchy. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great day. Today was the definition of anarchy's birthday. So if you guys can give him a high five or whatever you guys do. Hello to Philip J. Turner. Thank you so much for coming in. And Unique View. Thank you so much for coming in. And Ronnie Man, of course, for being one of our gold standard stripes here. And Joseph Francis Burton, thank you so much for coming in and supporting the channel and all that you do. Glad you had time to pop in for a test. Seem to do nightly, not nightly, but sporadic test around here. And Anarchy Television, thank you so much. And Used to Bitfu, thank you so much for coming in. And this is true, pushing the UNO global establishment, speaking in code. Leaf Desi says if they got guns, it's all right to have guns. Thank you for that. Thank you for coming in. Leaf Desi, and who else is R. Jones? Thank you so much for coming in. And Jermaine G. And well, that's good to know. Good for you. Good for you. And Anarchy says we should all publicly announce that we are running for president, running for president of the United States. That it would be against federal law to censor us on any platform. There you go. You're thinking outside the box here. There we go. We're coming up with. We're getting the engines running. All right. So let's do one more infomercial. Chaos Cutthroat, how are you? And he says, awesome stream. I enjoyed it as always. Oh, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, You Stupid Foo, for coming in. Let's see. I have one other. I'm this extra stuff that I have here. I kind of want to play it here. So hang on just a second.
That we begin to move away from the shareholder-centric approach, from the short-term returns that practically every business CEO that I've ever worked with or even talked with has said, distorts the market. I think it's time to look at what can make capitalism, market operations work much more effectively and frankly equally to help build a real economy by shifting some of the incentives and assumptions that have grown into the system over the last 50 years.
Okay. So there you go. That's, to me, that's another reinforcement, I think, on the stakeholder capitalism versus the shareholder. And there again, that's another part. If you know the we form, we've been cross-referencing these terms, the planned economy slash the Paris climate. We've been cross-referencing the we form and the 4IR and the, I've even kind of gone away from the NWO, but it's to me, it's just another goalpost, or just another storefront, if you will. And everything else that's surrounding some of these Marxist ideologies, it's just an exploitation of plight for either the poor or mentally disabled, illegal migrants or immigrants, whatever you want to call it. It's all some level of extorting someone's plight to get but the end game is something else. I mean, so yeah, that's about it. I'm kind of all over the place, but the cross references, I'm trying to connect a few dots here. And for those of you that are here regularly, I'm sure you're picking up what I'm putting down by now, or we're not missing I don't think we're missing the targets too much. I really don't. Ronnie Man says, wait a minute, that definitely wasn't beautiful bean footage. I would agree with that. And I'm going to take one more break, and then we're going to say so long on the test, on this Thursday night test. All right, guys. And Ronnie Man gives me a thumbs up on the music break. So yeah, thanks, Ronnie Man. I appreciate it. And yeah, actually, I'm going to play one more thing. I've already played it, but I'm going to play it again because I'm going to attempt to talk over it this time. So let me know if it works. You might hear some things in the background that are, some colorful things in the background, but so I'm just talking over this little, here's another break. So that is a dog in the background. So we'll find out. Actually, that's the dog in question. Okay. All right. So I appreciate you guys for humoring me on this test. And yes, it is the definition. It is the definition. Yes. And that's actually my friend's dog. He's pretty good. He really goes for it. He's it's almost operatic what he does. Um but sometimes it can be too much. I just have to let him out because he's I don't know. I think he thinks he's in charge, or it's like a leader of the pack kind of a thing that he goes through, but I don't know. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, R. Jones, for entertaining that. So yeah, I'll do something without the coloratura on the dog in the background, or even who knows. Okay, so I do have one other. I'm going to run one other thing, and then I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday night. I just get the days seem to be a little bit wonky. I mean, for me, it's kind of regularly. I read some comments here. Oh, thanks so much, Steve Willis. I really appreciate you guys for coming in. And, we're just trying to survive around here. Yeah, we're just trying to. I appreciate you guys for coming here, and yeah, I mean, actually, I could probably do one more story, but I may just wait and do it. Try to give you your time's worth on here. There's so many things that are coming out, and I mean, you've got everything from education, and of course politics are a mess, and even it looks like Netanyahu launches a massive mocktail drive as a way to end extreme lockdowns. And I haven't gotten into that yet. Yeah, but I will be honest. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if I shared. There's actually a like a domestic terrorist, I think, alert that went out a few days ago. And I think that's going to last through April the 1st. So I'm going to be honest, guys. I think there's probably going to be a little or no rallies going on now. I'm not sure if you guys are picking out, and I'm totally frozen right now. Very convenient. I'm frozen. But yeah, so it looks like Anarchy says you sent me a message. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And R. Jones says, my granddaughter is a flautist. Appreciate instrumental, beautiful music. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. I was actually, I'll do something more up to date, and, a little bit more fun without the dog in the background. But I kind of created that one at the 11th hour. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. So I'm going to wrap up now. And actually, we have 3 minutes to make it to 1 hour. So R. Jones, Ronnie Man, as a comment for you. And I have some other silliness in there. So what I want to do is I want to talk over some of these other little videos in here. And I won't torture you guys with that one. The next one, I think the HRC was a little bit much, and you guys handled that really well. So thank you very much. So, All right, guys. If you haven't had a chance to hit the like button, let me see. We have less than 3 minutes before we're rolling out of here. So you have 2 minutes and 45 seconds before we're going to get out of here. So I appreciate it. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like I have a report in here right now that says that the House strips Marjorie Taylor Greene of her committee assignments. So looks like you see where you see where we're going. It's like they're wielding the power, wielding the power. Okay. Hi, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I want to thank one more time my friends and the patrons, as well as the friends who are signed up over on Twitch. All right, guys, I want to thank you once again. And oh, wow, Ronnie, man, you're blazing trails around here. And all right, so it looks like Ronnie Man has posted the link that the House voted on MTG. So I just refer to her as MTG around here. All right, guys. So have a great rest of your, if there's any Thursday evening left for you, or if there's Friday morning on your horizon right now. And I'll see you guys on the next live stream, in the comment section, in the Moonlight stream on a video, or, of course, a test that always turns into more than a test. Have a great night or morning.